It's time now for the award-winning #1 local talk show in Northeast Pennsylvania, The Sam Lesante Show. Now here's your host, Sam Lesante.
Thanks for joining us, folks. I'm Sam Lesante. And wow, do we have a show for you today, folks. First time we'll be talking to Jerry Speziale, who is the new chief at Hazleton, police chief. But we're going to start the show off today with our mayor, Mayor Cusat, and also no stranger to the greater Hazleton area, our fire chief, Don Leshko. Remember, folks, you can watch us on HT channel 513, and appreciate all the great comments we're having. But let's get right to the show. Well, Mayor, once again, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having us.
How you doing so far?
Good.
Yeah, things are coming along?
Yeah, I have a great team.
Well, you worked on it with the transition team. You worked on it. We talked about it on the show. Let's talk about, some of the key things that you stated in your State of City address. And folks, you realize that the way Hazleton goes, it affects all the areas. So it's important that things go the way they should be going in the greater Hazleton area. So, Jeff, what did you talk about?
I talked about the two things that I think are most over-exaggerated in the Hazleton area, which are violent crimes and that we're on the verge of bankruptcy. A majority of our crimes in Hazleton come from some sort of theft. And the only way you could prevent those kind of crimes are by putting more patrol on the streets. So the perception of that we're a really violent city, I take, hits me the wrong way. And the other thing we talked about was that we're on the verge of bankruptcy. I mean, we have $14 million in debt that goes back to 2005. We have $32 million in unfunded pension. And we're starting the year with $261,000 in unpaid bills from 2015. But we're not on the verge of bankruptcy. And I really think that, if we come together with council, we could take care of both of those situations. If council gives a realistic budget and could include the two suggestions that I gave to them, which are a 2% tax increase and a 0.25 mil increase in EIT, which equates to $9 per $100,000 home and 25 cents for every $100 you make. We can add 6 officers to the patrol, and it'll also open City Hall 24/7. I think that would be a great starting point in the base. And it'll financially stabilize the budget for the future to come. But if we keep giving false revenues and over-exaggerated or under-exaggerated expenses, we're never going to get ourselves out of either of those situations.
My question is this. When you're in the negotiations, okay, I know we do it in our business. I did it when I was on the college board. You have to negotiate with people. Do you have, and I'm redundant on this, do you have conversations with the council? I mean, with Jack Mundy. I mean, Jack seems to be, a very nice person who was willing to work. I think Gene Mope and the current council right now, hopefully they're at least open for suggestions. They seem to be open to suggestions. Have you met with them and gone over those?
Well, this was a strange situation because I was on council when the original budget came out. Since then, so actually it came out in October. I believe Joe turned it out in November. So we've had a lot of conversations on it, and they know where I stand. I mean, I don't want to raise taxes. Nobody wants to raise taxes. But if we don't make our city safer, the property values are going to continue to decline. Exactly. So we need 3% increase in revenue each year just to stabilize the city. So if you keep putting off no taxes this week, no new revenue. Eventually, we're going to get to come down the line where you need a giant increase in taxes or we got to take a loan. And that's how we got ourselves into this situation. So we need to stop all of that. So I'm hoping that with the suggestions I gave council, and hopefully maybe they come up with some more during this year, that we could stabilize it for next year.
Well, I'm hoping so too, because you said something. The worst is if they don't do anything. Sometimes you pay the big price at the end. So a little bit right now, if you get more officers on the streets, we'll talk to Jerry about that. But it's important that the community has that perspective. Excuse me. Downtown has come a long way, okay, and You hear the naysayers. It's falling down. You're never going to get it the way it is before. We may not get it the way it was many years ago, but we're working on it to make it better. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, it's the problem is nothing will ever be the same as it was before. Everything moved on. 30 years ago when downtown there was no crime, there was no technology either. I mean, so if you're saying you wanted things to be the way they were before, you have to think about all the other things that affect. There was no telephones, there was no computers. It was a different lifestyle. You walked and you rode your bike. Now you hop in your car, you go two blocks. Things are never going to be the same as they were in the past. And it's not just like that in Hazleton. It's like that all over the country.
Chief, how are you?
Good, how are you, Sam?
Good. How's our great fire department?
We're doing fabulous. It was 2015 was our busiest year on record. 1,002 calls we handled for service to the citizens of Hazleton. 2016's looking the same way. We're already at probably over about 85 calls for the month of January. It's a busy month. But
so so people understand, you're not only fighting fires here, okay? So there's other things that the fire department does.
Yeah.
And give us a little.
It's pretty much anybody you pick up 911 and call for anything. A fire call, someone, they see black smoke coming out of a chimney, they have a water pipe broken in their house, car accidents. You name it, any call we're called upon by 911, we respond to assist. So it's pretty much we're handling any type of incident that comes, pretty much either handling solely by our department, working with the police department, working with DPW, and also working with code enforcement. So it's any incident that comes our way.
How is your set up with firemen? Are you okay with them? Do you need more? We always need more.
Right.
Okay.
We consider every day and say we need more. But right now I have a great team. I tell you what, I have a fabulous team of the 2 deputy chiefs, my career firefighters, my volunteers. We work really well as a team, and knowing that effort that we work as a team together, that's a strong effort to our citizens that we protect. That they have, I will say, some of the greatest and best fire protection going that we can offer them, and most importantly is answering our number one call. And I always say our number one boss is the resident we protect. They are our bosses. They are our representatives. They're the people we got to answer to, and that's who we're out there working as a team to make sure we strive to give them the best protection.
How close do you work with the mayor?
Very close. I can't even tell you how many phone calls a day, but it's all working as a team. The team effort is just unbelievable. It's working as a team with the mayor, with the administration, the police chief, DPW, code enforcement. We're overseeing now code enforcement, working together. But it's also, as the mayor said, it's working together with everybody. I get phone calls from council members. It's working together as a team to move the city forward. And I think that's our bogus thing, is that if we work as a team, administration, council, departments all work together. We got to work together for the citizens. They are looking for a positive movement forward in the city of Hazleton, and it's time that we got to give them that, and that's what we need to do.
We all agree to disagree in some areas, but I think primarily if you do them in a private office and you're able to roll up your sleeves and say, let's address it, and come up with a solution. Okay, that's the negotiating part, instead of having specific agendas. And I'm hoping with Jeff on board now as the mayor that we will have that sort of, sure you won't agree to everything, but let's do it in a professional manner.
Sam, I found it takes a simple phone call or an email, ask a question. If you don't know something, ask a question. Same way, if I don't know something, I'm gonna ask a question. Anybody, ask a question, that goes a long way in asking questions to get the answers we need to move forward.
Well,
I think that with our cabinet meetings we have, we all talk about every situation. They weren't happy. Our first cabinet meeting was 11 hours, which was something they were different to. But we sat there and we talked about every aspect of every person's department. So who could help with who, and how can I help the fire? How could code help the fire department? How could the streets, and it all came through in this last snowstorm, how we worked, the fire department, the police department, and the DPW worked so good together that we had the streets cleaned. It's 16 inches of snow off of 140 miles of road with only 8 plow trucks. We were out there with the police department and the fire department. We went out there and went up every single street, gave out the snow bands. Move or be moved was our attitude. And we towed cars just to give the DPW guys to be able to move the snow quicker. Everybody's working so well together. It's amazing that the first 3 weeks down there, the excitement that everybody has to work together.
Well, I think that's the key. Are any councilmen available to come to any meetings that you have, or is it just strictly your administration?
We've only really met with the administration. We've called them in to have other meetings, but not on the
So
week.
the lines of communication are wide open here.
Oh, yeah, everybody. My door's open. Everybody comes and goes. And
I think that's the whole key. You hit the nail on the head, Don. When you have a concern, ask the question. Okay. I don't like these meetings where I'm going to get you. I'm going to get you kind of thing. It doesn't do anyone any good at all. Particularly, we mentioned many times when you were on the show, Jeff, people come into this area and they may want to bring a business in this area. They're looking at this area through different eyes than we look at this, okay? And we want to present that we're solid and we are moving ahead. Don, as usual, you guys do a great job, really.
Thank you very much.
Seriously, it's nice to have you on the show. We're going to bring the new guy on. See what the new guy's all about, huh? Okay. Folks, I'm talking to Don Leshko, who's our fire chief and current mayor, Jeff Cusat. We're going to introduce you Jerry Speziale. Okay, and he is the new chief. What's he all about? What's he going to do for the greater Hazleton area? We'll find out right after this message. Welcome back to the Sam Lesante Show, folks. Remember, 24/7, you can watch all of our programs on ssptv.com. My email, sam@ssptv.com. And remember, we're HD, so if you have an HD television set, go to 513. We're very happy. We got a lot of new viewers on our HD channel, and we appreciate that. My guest today, we had Don Leshko, who is the fire chief of Hazleton. And now still on the set is our current mayor, Jeff Cusat. And we're going to introduce to you Jerry Speziale. Jerry, welcome to Greater Hazleton.
Thank you very much.
Evidently, you hit the road running up here, didn't you?
Yes, I have. It's
Okay.
great to be here.
Jerry, tell me a little bit about yourself so people know who you are.
Sure.
And people like Jeff know all about you. But for our viewers, what do you bring to the table here?
I have 35 years of law enforcement experience. I started my career with the NYPD. From there, I spent 3 terms as a county sheriff or county police chief in New Jersey. Then went down and handled crime in the greater Mobile, Alabama area. Was the 6th most violent city in the nation. And then came back up here to the Patterson area where it was my birthplace. And now here I am in Hazleton, Pennsylvania, where my grandfather, Bruno Speziale, first migrated to from Italy, from Calabria, Italy.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Your experiences, so when you're coming into the area, I'm sure Jeff, he really does his homework, I got to tell you, in getting you to come into the area. What do you bring to the table? I don't know if it's too soon to see, but I'm sure you have known what's happening in the area.
Sure. You have to assess any urban center. Hazleton's no different than Patterson. It's no different than any urban center. What you have to look at is 21st century policing, strategies, concepts, basic broken window theory. Small crimes and blight lead to bigger crimes, as the mayor talked about, using technology, deploying manpower and allocating your resources properly. We're going to be going to 12-hour shifts. We're going to be using a phone app, which is a text for tip, where you'll be able to communicate with a police officer anonymously to provide tips to the police department. We're going to be using data-driven analytics that will show me hot spots throughout the city of Hazleton so that we can do predictive analysis on where crimes are likely to be committed. And what you have to realize today is that 1 to 2% of the population in Hazleton City or the greater Hazleton area commits 99% of your crimes. So what do? You have to focus. It's called a focused deterrent. And what you do with that focused deterrent is you identify through intelligence and you identify those 1 or 2% that are committing the crimes, whether it be violent crime, whether it be theft, whether it be drugs, and you get those individuals and you bring them into a room. And once you bring them into the room, you offer them certain assistance and programs. And if they don't take that, then you use a focused deterrent team to focus on them. And it's proven the reductions in crime, the reductions in violence. When you look at drugs, it's a different situation. With drugs, we had this major heroin seizure. Yes, we hit a major supplier. However, what you have to look at is going after the demand. Because once you take that demand and you take those people away from the equation, there's no reason for anybody to sell heroin. When you don't have a customer, you have no sale. So we are going to go into what we call demand reduction. We're going to go after the supply, and we're going to go after the broken window theory, because the broken window theory works. When you have blight, or you have small crimes, or things that you leave garbage and litter, it gives the public the appearance, or anybody that comes through this area, that nobody cares about it. So when that happens, smaller crimes lead to larger crimes, and that's how we will, deploy our resources. 12-hour shifts starting February 15th. We worked with the union. That will double our police force. If we are able to get this.
How is that?
Because what happens is you run 4 squads. And when you run 4 squads, what happens is you're running 12-hour shifts, 7 to 7, and then 7 to 7. So what happens is you get 33% more manpower by doing that. Now, you have a heavy week in week 2, and you have a light week in week 1. But what happens is every other weekend, police officers get a 3-day weekend off, so that's their benefit. And by doing it, they get better rest in week 1. In week 2, it's heavier, but we get double the manpower in putting police officers out in the street. So you'll see a better omnipresence of police. We'll be able on those light weeks to do warrant roundups, special traffic details, DUI checkpoints, things that will help us, those demand reductions. Those are the way you fight crime. It's how you allocate your resources. I can't tell you that we're not short. We are severely short in the police department. At a minimum, we need 6 right now. That's just going to get us started. Then you have retirements next year that you have to be prepared for.
Sometimes.
Yeah, you have to be prepared. You can't just, do this on a shoestring. And I have met with every member of council. I met with the council president, Jack Mundy. Seems to be understanding of our issue.
Listen, I think every one of the councilmen is putting, whatever. I think each one has a very special interest in the town.
Sure.
And yes, you can play politics to me, but I think Jack is really a sensible person.
Yes.
I think he's open to to ideas. I'm hoping with the new council, because that's what it is. It's just a matter of ideas.
Absolutely, Sam.
When you excuse me, when you came in and you assessed, first of all, you have a great force. Okay.
Yes, we do.
For what they do,
Truly dedicated.
and the calls they get. God bless
Yes.
our police department.
Yes.
When you assessed it, okay, what were your thoughts? I mean, sometimes you come and say, "Oh, I'm not touching this because this is really bad." Okay, what was your opinion?
What I could tell you is that you have a talented group of individuals that are truly dedicated to the welfare of the citizens, and they want to do the job. And I've seen a change over the 3 weeks. I've seen morale go up. I've seen motivation. I've seen them say things like, we want to work for you. We want to work for the new mayor. It's giving them those tools. So I need the council to understand, I've spoken to Gene Mope, I've spoken to Mr. Sosar, the councilman. I've spoken to everybody, Gaviel, and to Grace. Look, we're not doing this. I'm basing my decisions on solid police principles. I have no political interest here. I have no political stake here. I'm here to make a safer Hazleton. That's what this mayor has asked me to do. And that's what I will do, make a safer Hazleton through the fine men and women of the Hazleton Police Department. But we can't do it alone. This is a partnership. This is a community collaboration. Collaboration unleashes the power of the many to do what none of us can do alone. So together, we can make that safer Hazleton. If you believe in it, if you work with us, I promise, and I will tell you, we will deliver a safer Hazleton. Guaranteed, absolutely, positively. Patterson's the only city in the state of New Jersey. We have a 27% reduction in homicides this year. We have an 18% in violent crime. We have a 5% total violent, a total crime reduction throughout, where everybody else seen 100% spike. So it does work.
Folks, I'm talking to our new police chief, Jerry Speziale. I'm saying that right?
Yes, sir.
Speziale? And the mayor, come back. I'm going to ask the chief before I conclude with Mayor Cusat. What can we do as citizens to help the police department? Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us, folks. You're watching the Sam Lesante Show. Remember, 5:13 on HD on Service Electric Cablevision. My guest today, I interviewed our fire chief, Don Leshko, and now on the set is our new police chief, Jerry Speziale, and Mayor Cusat. Very quickly, I want to ask you, Chief, what can we do as citizens, okay, to help the Hazleton Police Department?
You know, there's no quality of life if our homes and neighborhoods aren't safe and our children and seniors are left unprotected. So, Sam, what I can tell you is we need to partner together, work with us, provide us with tips, use the text for tips. We're going to launch a new website, Hazleton Police Department website. That should be up by next week. You'll be able to submit anonymous tips. So for those seniors that have computers, just go online and hit submit a tip. Totally anonymous. For those people out there that have smartphones, download TipSoft. Go to the Hazleton Police Department and submit your tip, two-way text. Wow. We'll never know your identity.
That's fabulous.
That's how we can do it together.
You know, I tell you, because sometimes you see something happening, and by the time you have your smartphone, bing, you know, you could get, that's really fabulous.
Yeah,
I think that's
this is
great.
the future.
Yeah. Well, just so you know this, okay, our station is open to you as well as all of the people. Anytime, you know, with our news department or any of our shows here, we're more than happy to bring the information, as our good mayor has done many times, okay?
Thank you.
Wish you the best, okay?
Thank you very much, Sam. I really appreciate you having me on.
Okay, Mayor, let's just review that tax program that you would like to initiate.
The two suggestions I made to council were a 2% in real estate tax and a 0.25 mil on EIT, which again equates to $9 per $100,000 of assessment value. The average home in Hazleton is $60,000, which is $5. Also, it works out to be 25 cents per every $100 you gross. And that amount would finance 6 full-time police officers and enough to open the window at City Hall 24/7. And I gave the comparison out about people, the property tax in Hazleton is so high. The current house now in Hazleton pays $360 a year for SOAR and $240 a year for garbage, which is $600 a year for waste. Your average home pays $270 per city taxes, which gives you a full-time police department, full-time fire department, and a dedicated road service. So to me, you're not overpaying for services.
Well, it sounds logical. Like sooner or later, you have to pay the piper. It's best to do it a little at a time now than get a big lump sum. And I hope it works for you.
I hope council's willing to work. I mean, nobody wants to raise taxes. Nobody wants to take the blame.
But you're not hitting it with a sledgehammer. You're hitting it with a pound of cotton.
It's small. The city needs 3% increase every year. And in the past, it's been being put off and put off and put off. Then you're hit with the big increase or a loan. I always said I would like to see a realistic budget with real expenses, what's really needed for revenue, and just move forward. Why fluff anything?
I think it makes a lot of sense, a little at a time, and you know, sometimes there's little things you may be able to be rewarded with some other additional assets coming into town, because they'll see the crime coming down, see what Jerry's trying to do. As you know, Jeff, you are always welcome to come and inform our viewers what's happening in the city of Hazleton. Folks, remember 24/7, you can watch the show anytime on SSP TV. Anything in closing, Jeff?
Hopefully the people have patience. This problem and changes didn't happen overnight, and you know, just stand behind the people and stick up for the departments. I mean, we have a great fire department, a great street department, and an awesome police department. We all work well together in every situation.
I think the key thing is you all work well together. You're able to agree to disagree and discuss things. I think that's critical. Yes. Lines of communication is also, you don't have, you're not king, you're the mayor, okay? We hope you're not king yet. I mean, I know you're working to become czar, but just stick with the mayor right now. Mayor Cusat, folks, and our new chief of police, Jerry Speziale, and of course Don Leshko, no stranger. Great force, folks. We've been very blessed in this area to have great people, dedicated people. We're hoping just the very best. We're all in it together. Let's be positive, folks. Let's be positive and work together. That's the most important thing. We'll see you next time.